Welcome to Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. I'm your host, Jill Jardine, longtime astrologer, psychic healer, and yogi. In this episode, welcome to eclipse season, the Great Bifurcation. I'm going to discuss the upcoming eclipse cycle of May through June 2021. We have a blood full moon lunar eclipse occurring on May 26, 2021, and a new moon solar eclipse on June 10th, 2021. Stay tuned to see how these eclipses will affect us all collectively and how your sun sign will be impacted. Welcome to the episode on the eclipses of May and June 2021, the Great Bifurcation. Go back and listen to my previous episode on eclipses from May 22nd, 2020, entitled Total Eclipse of the Heart, what you need to know about eclipses. For more information, in today's episode, I will discuss the upcoming eclipses and what they mean for us all. Stay tuned to the end of the episode when I give the forecast for each zodiac sign on how you will be affected by the eclipses occurring in the signs Gemini and Sagittarius. So we have a blood full moon lunar eclipse occurring on May 26, 2021 at 7:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with the moon in Sagittarius and sun in Gemini. And then the new moon solar eclipse follows on June 10th, 2021 at 6:53 a.m. with the sun and moon together in Gemini. These eclipses are being heralded as the Great Bifurcation. What does bifurcate mean? Sounds a little dirty, but it really means to divide into two branches or parts. And guess how they get divided? By a beam of light. So I'm seeing this as a split of consciousness. Remember, Gemini is the sign of the twins, and it's also a sign of duality or multiplicity. So what we have on the planet right now is people operating out of different realities. And these eclipses will markedly show us the split in consciousness. What is this split? I think it's between those who are consciously awakened to higher realities and truth, and those who are walking around in a daze and perhaps unconscious, what we call sheeple, maybe believing everything they hear and not feeling or experiencing it from their own intuitive, soulful force. So before I get into these eclipses and what they mean for all of us and basically unpacking it for you on what to expect, I'm going to go back and discuss the astrological significance of eclipses and why we should care about them. Again, a lot of this information was on a previous eclipse in May 2020 called Total Eclipse of the Heart. Okay, so eclipses become very personally important if you tend to have a birthday on the day of an eclipse or a couple days before or after one. Eclipses can also affect you personally if another planet in your birth chart will be activated because it's located near or at the eclipse degrees. You need to consult an experienced professional astrologer who can tell you if any of your planets will be affected by the degree of the eclipse. And if so, what area of your life will experience change. Luckily, we know of a seasoned professional astrologer who can help you determine that. Check out my website, www.jilljardineastrology.com, for a consultation. Now, eclipses can hide something from your consciousness. They can take away something or reveal something. Solar eclipses tend to expose or reveal something that was hidden, while lunar eclipses tend to be more malefic and can bring up unexpected challenges. Lunar eclipses tend to take things away. Eclipses also affect the collective consciousness, our country, our society, and the entire world. As they mark turning points for collective humanity, they indicate change of big shifts that come in for better or for worse. And they also show us that we need to look at the next 6 months following the eclipse to see what unfolds. I've noticed it usually takes a month or even 2 months out to see the result of an eclipse pattern, whether that's in your personal life or in the collective life. There's a reason why the ancients, our ancestors, feared eclipses. For one thing, they saw them as big fires in the sky, or they would see the sun disappear, or the moon disappear, or a ring around the sun. These were quite visual spectacles for the ancient people. And being able to view this without even eyeglasses or telescopes, pretty scary. So, usually after eclipses in ancient times and until this day, there were big changes that would happen, especially regime changes or changes in the order of the society. For in the past, if there was an eclipse, sometimes the natives knew the country would be beset by invading marauders who came and burned down their village. They were also considered as precursors to weather anomalies or big shifts and changes on the earth, such as earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, and other weather phenomena. And that is even true still today. Now I'm going to talk about the difference between solar eclipses and lunar eclipses. So now I'm going to discuss lunar eclipses, which are considered more malefic than solar eclipses. A lunar eclipse occurs on a full moon when the sun and moon are in opposite signs. So there's already the tension and pull of the polarity of opposite zodiac signs. During the May 26, 2021 lunar eclipse, the polarity of Gemini and Sagittarius in astrology will be activated. Stay tuned when I give a prediction for each sun sign and what that would mean for you. During a lunar eclipse, astronomically, the Earth is exactly between the sun and the moon. We can see the Earth shadow affecting the color of the moon, which can sometimes turn reddish, orangey, brown, or gray during a lunar eclipse. In fact, we had a series of orange full moon lunar eclipses back in 2014 and 2015. And those are called blood moons, when the moon begins to look an orangey color. So those blood moons, there was a series of 4 blood moons, lunar eclipses, occurred back on April 14, 2014, October 8, 2014, April 4th, 2015, and September 27, 2015. These were all lunar eclipse blood moons, a rarity in astronomy and astrology. The most powerful of these blood moons was the full moon lunar eclipse of September 27, 2015, which was also a super full moon. Well, guess what? The May 26, 2021 lunar eclipse is also a blood moon super full moon. At a lunar eclipse blood moon, the gravitational pull is felt very strongly on planet Earth. And if you remember back, we had quite a few earthquakes and big changes that came after those blood moons in 2014 and 2015. Blood moons would be putting fear into the hearts of our ancestors. Ancient astronomers viewed them as harbingers of change and precursors to challenging times, courtesy of these rare blood moons. Ruh-roh, not to be a Debbie Downer, but the collective consciousness is certainly affected by powerful lunar eclipses, and so are people. People get really emotional at lunar eclipses. We can see the range of emotions from anger, fear, rage, and jealousy coming to the surface. I'm sure that there's been studies done that there is more road rage with a full moon lunar eclipse. People's shadow side emerges, and it's not pretty. Relationships can take a toll during eclipses and the fallout after them, as many relationships can break up and make big changes, and secrets are revealed too. So that leads me to another point about eclipses I want to talk about. I call it eclipse fallout. In fact, it is suggested that eclipses can be so malefic that Vedic astrologers say, don't go outside during a lunar eclipse. Stay inside. And if you can, meditate and pray and wait till the eclipse passes. Solar eclipses aren't considered as malefic as lunar eclipses. Solar eclipses usher in new beginnings. The electromagnetic radiations will be felt worldwide at the upcoming solar eclipse on June 10th, 2021. Sometimes around these eclipses, especially solar eclipses, we have a preponderance of solar flares, or there are sunsets on the actual sun in our galaxy that are affecting us here on Earth. I know some people who think that after this solar eclipse on June 10th, 2021, we may have such powerful solar flares that the grid will go down. The electric grid on the Earth might be affected after this June 10th, 2021 solar eclipse that triggers solar flares. You heard it here first. What solar eclipses do for us as people on the planet is that they shine light on what has been hidden from individuals or in the collective society. The astrological phenomena that bring solar eclipses, or the astronomy of a solar eclipse, is when the moon lines up directly between the Earth and the sun. They always happen at new moons. Astrologically, when the sun and the moon are conjunct, as we say, they're in the same sign. So you're going to see an activation of that sign in your own natal chart. For instance, the solar eclipse that is occurring on June 10th, 2021, occurs in the sun sign Gemini. Well, where does Gemini fall in your personal chart? What house does it rule out of the 12 astrological houses? Do you have any planets near the degree of this June 10th eclipse, which will occur at 19 degrees Gemini? Or even to see on the big level, what is going to be the new beginning for all of us in our society? The moon can block out the sun's light at a solar eclipse, distorting our sense of reality. Do not make any big decisions at a solar or lunar eclipse, as your clarity can be obscured, just like the sun or moon being obscured, and there can be confusion. Eclipses clean the slate, whether the slate is your mind, your experiences, your relationship, and other manifestations. So if we use the energy of knowing a new beginning is coming with a solar eclipse, but maybe wait a few days or even weeks before we start out on our new path, that's considered a good use of this energy. Sometimes the solar eclipse opens up opportunities following a new directive in our life. On a collective level, solar eclipses are a very interesting time to see what shows up in the media. Lots of secrets are revealed and people will be exposed. Solar eclipses force growth. And as I said earlier, they tend to activate one sign of the Zodiac because the sun and moon are together in that sign. So what is this eclipse fallout I speak of? As I mentioned earlier, lunar eclipses can take away from us, both personally and collectively. Back in 2015, those blood moon lunar eclipses were precursors and took away levels of civility in regard to politics. Families were divided over political persuasions. Now in 2021, families are divided by what I call vaccine agendas. Also, there are big things that happen during what I call the eclipse window. In the weeks leading up to an eclipse and for 2 months after, even up to 3 months after, many people may die or leave their bodies during these eclipse windows. But also, many powerful souls incarnate during eclipse windows. But for those who tend to decide it's time to leave this physical incarnation, this physical plane, and die or leave their bodies during an eclipse window, it's like a big portal from the earth to the higher dimensions is open, and souls can choose their exit strategy to leave their bodies. Usually, many people who die in this eclipse aftermath are waiting for a way to exit from this lifetime fast. And that's where we see a lot of people do die and very fast. Maybe they didn't even show symptoms that they were ill. So there can be a lot of shocks around eclipses. In fact, there are what we call the aftershocks of things like earth changes. Earthquakes occur quite a bit after eclipses, as do weird weather phenomena during or after the eclipses shortly thereafter, such as tornadoes and hail and hurricanes and tsunamis and other weather phenomena of biblical proportions sometimes. So it will be interesting to see what's going to happen after the eclipse of May 26th and June 10th, 2021. Here are some of my predictions for the upcoming eclipses in the spring of 2021.
Now that the days are getting longer here in the Northern Hemisphere, and the sun is still up into the evening hours, it's a great time to relax at the end of a long day with a nice glass of rosé. But you can't stand the yucky pesticides, chemicals, and fillers in most wines. Well, let me tell you about Scout and Cellar clean crafted wines. Scout and Cellar comes in varietals of rosé, whites, reds, and sparkling wines. Scout and Cellar is organic, clean crafted wine free of synthetic pesticides, chemical additives, and low in sulfites. Order yours now at www.scoutandcellar.com/Jill Jardine and begin enjoying clean crafted wine straight from the grape to your glass.
The big eclipse episode begins on May 26, 2021 at 7:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with a blood moon, full moon lunar eclipse. It will be visible in Australia, parts of the western United States, western South America, and in Southeast Asia. You will be able to see a super full moon totally eclipsed for about 14 minutes during this lunar eclipse, weather permitting. Remember, those areas where the eclipse falls and is visible will be affected by weather anomalies and geomagnetic earth shifts in the coming months. At this full moon lunar eclipse, the astrological polarity of Gemini and Sagittarius is triggered, and those born during those sun signs will be affected strongly. Chiron, the wounded healer teacher in Aries, trines this moon in Sagittarius. We have to heal the wounds of the past before we move to the next level. The sun in Gemini eclipses the moon in Sagittarius. Sun in Gemini can obscure the truth with fibs and white lies, and Sagittarius wants sincerity. We have to fine-tune our bullshit detectors at this eclipse because there are different versions of the truth, and which one is genuine? Mainstream media has their, quote, canned spiel on situations, and alternative media has another view. Which is valid and what is the party line? We have to decipher accurate truths for ourselves in June and May because we will be bombarded by two sides of the story and many different versions, not all valid. It is important to be grounded and open to various possibilities and many realities. Information which has been withheld, hidden, and censored, specifically around the vaccine agenda, political issues, economic situations, and the stock market, will be revealed. The financial markets will take a hit during these spring eclipses. Our physical realities are undergoing a transformation. Some believe that we are merging dimensions. As the third dimensional realities reveal their density and limitation, higher dimensional realities disclose their potentialities. Our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies are being upgraded by multi-dimensional light pouring in from galactic portals and spiritual source. Whoa! We are receiving an upgrade at the eclipses if we can access these higher levels of consciousness. We must fine-tune our physical vehicles to integrate this downpouring of light. So the purity of the essence of the life force is being refined. There will be breakdowns before breakthroughs are reached. The breakthroughs will come post-eclipse in June, when Saturn at 13 degrees Aquarius squares Uranus at 13 degrees Taurus from June 13th to June 20th, 2021. Notice that 13 is the key number degrees in the square, and the date it begins is June 13th, 2021. The number 13 has mixed interpretations. In some cultures, it is considered unlucky and malefic, while in others, it is a lucky number. However, 13 actually relates to the ending of old ways in order to bring in new beginnings, which bring with them good luck or bad luck. 13. So, these eclipses are portal days or openings to new realities or higher dimensions. We are being given galactic downloads and physical upgrades at these eclipses and the Uranus-Saturn square in June, and even every lunar event leading up to the new moon in Leo on 8/8/2021. There's some kind of acceleration that is going on in humanity, and we have to be ready by 8/8 when the Lion's Gate opens. It's a portal. More on that in an upcoming podcast. New moon solar eclipse on June 10th, 2021 at 19 degrees Gemini, conjunct Mercury retrograde in Gemini, continues the theme of revelations, disclosures, and hidden information coming to light. Saturn in Aquarius trines this new moon solar eclipse, and we need to think if we are truly free or caught up in the third dimensional matrix of one version of the truth. Remember, whatever version of the verity you align with becomes your reality, so choose wisely. Gemini and Aquarius are air signs, so there is an interesting potential during this solar eclipse to not only upgrade our physical bodies, but to rewire our minds to align with higher truth and spiritual source. Dispel confusion, seek clarity, and adjust your life according to the bigger vision for yourself. Remember, new moon solar eclipses signify new beginnings. Despite the eclipse of the sun by the moon, moon brings the emotional body to the forefront. Remember, you have to feel it to heal it. The Sabian symbol, which is an archetypal system describing the symbolic meaning of the 360 degrees of the Zodiac for the solar eclipse on June 10th, is at the degree of 19 Gemini. Gemini 19 degrees is a large archaic volume, reveals a traditional wisdom. The keynote is contacting the all-human planetary mind underlying any cultural or personal mentality. Wow, what does that mean? It means we have to get back to seed knowledge, which is the knowledge of the structure of cyclic and cosmic manifestations of life on this planet. So that feels like going back through history, see what happened. We are on the verge and in the Aquarian age, so we are starting a new age in humanity according to the 26,000-year cycle of the precession of the equinoxes. So the theme at this new moon is of wisdom, knowledge, and the real truth behind situations versus the manufactured storyline. Seek ye the wisdom within, and all else will be revealed. So, to sum it all up, these spring eclipses in 2021 are portal days, providing openings to new realities or higher dimensions, whatever that means to you. To those who choose to attune to the galactic and spiritual forces available, there are beautiful downloads for you personally on how to live your life and physical upgrades pulsing down to us during these eclipses, as well as during the Uranus-Saturn square during June in July 2021, and every lunar event leading up to the new moon in Leo on 8/8/2021. There's some kind of acceleration, as I mentioned, some kind of major upgrade in our experiences on the planet that will occur by 8/8, the Lion's Gate. The Lion's Gate, 8/8, a graduation date to multidimensionality and higher consciousness activation. Welcome to the part of the episode when I share the astrological implications for the sun signs during these eclipses. And I'm doing this in a different way than when I've shared in the past. I'm looking at the polarity of different sun signs, meaning those that are opposite each other. And so I'm going to start with the sun signs that are actually involved in the eclipses, and that is Gemini and Sagittarius. Tag your it in the ecliptic game of tag. Eclipses offer opportunities to release and let go of outmoded ways of being. Remember, the choice is yours. You can willingly release, or the universe might decide to take something from you. Be proactive. Make financial donations to those less fortunate or other charities and clear the eclipse karmas before they play out in the coming months. These eclipses affect your first house of self and seventh house of relationship. There will be endings in relationships, friendships, and with other people as you evolve into the new you. Time to reevaluate all your relationships, Gemini and Sagittarius. Cancer and Capricorn, this is impacting your financial access in astrology, which is lit up. This means look for new sources of making money in the next 6 months. Certain forms of income will go away, but other forms will come in. Inheritances, insurance settlements, and money from unexpected places can show up for you, Cancer and Capricorn. Leo and Aquarius, the axis in astrology that's lit up for you is communication, education, and travel. So there'll be opportunities for travel, both near and far, to appear in the coming 6 months. Go for it. Also, self-enhancement through education or trainings or self-help workshops will come in. Fine-tune your communication powers. Upgrade your electronic devices like computers, phones, and everything else. Cars, you can buy a car, but that's after Mercury goes direct after June 22nd, 2021. Find self-expression through bigger platforms and venues. Virgo and Pisces, your home and career axis is activated. Make much needed improvement in homes. It's a good time to buy or sell houses. Reevaluate your career path. Make professional life changes. Go with it. Focus on the Dharma and big mission. Here are some questions to consider, Virgo and Pisces. What is right livelihood for you? How are you supposed to make your money? What is your life purpose? What we call Dharma in Sanskrit. Where are you supposed to live? Right location. Check out astrocartography to see what your chart shows you. Where are those Jupiter and Venus lines? What's your place both geographically and dharmically in the world right now, Virgo and Pisces? Libra and Aries, activating the axis of creativity and children, groups, organizations, friendships, and your future. How can you express your creative self more, align with your soul talents, and create a future that is in alignment with your bigger dreams? How are your children doing? Do you see children in your future for those who don't have them? How will you make your life better to prepare for them? Heal your DNA, 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. Make the world a better place for the future generations and for your future self. And Scorpio and Taurus, your health and spiritual access is activated. So be vigilant in taking care of your physical vehicle, which is the temple of your soul. Eat right, clean up on the diet, exercise, get outside, breathe in fresh air, expand your lungs, connect with your soul, get sustenance from substances you take into your body, whether it is food or information. Look to connect with your soul through meditation, connecting with nature, and improving your alignment with your spiritual source. Perhaps volunteer or donate to causes for the less fortunate and clear up some of those 12th house karmas. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine on the eclipse season of 2021, the Great Bifurcation. Remember to subscribe, download, and share this episode and all episodes of Cosmic Scene. This is Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine signing out, sending you healing ecliptic fallout mitigation vibrations through the quantum field.